more than 36 leading Catholic scholars in an open letter urge fellow Catholics not to back Donald Trump. Joining us, co-author of the letter, George Weigel and Mary Rice Hasson, who signed on to it. I think we caught you by surprise, George. Good to see you.
Always a surprise at EWTN.
Yeah, why write this letter now? Why not let the democratic process take its course?
This is part of the democratic process, of which a crucial moment is next Tuesday with the winner-take-all Ohio and Florida primaries. And frankly, my colleagues and I thought it was time for us to say to fellow Catholics, do not be fooled. This man does not share our core concerns. There's nothing in his record, his character, or his campaign to suggest that he does. And there are alternative ways to express your disagreement.
But he says he's pro-life. He says he'll support a 20-week ban on abortion. He says he'll defund Planned Parenthood. You doubt his pro-life stance?
Completely.
Why?
If you think about the words that he said, that Planned Parenthood does wonderful work, I mean, that tells us not just what he thinks about Planned Parenthood, but that tells us something about how he looks at the issue of life and abortion. And so he's willing to measure by a utilitarian yardstick, where if Planned Parenthood does something that he considers good on Monday, treating STDs, and on Tuesday they're doing cancer screenings or something, and on Wednesday they're dismembering babies in the most violent way possible. For Donald Trump, he weighs and measures, and he comes out saying, that's okay, on the balance, they're okay.
I can't tell you guys how many emails I get from EWTN viewers who are backing Trump. They think we're slamming him all the time. They're rightfully upset with the establishment, the government. Why not give Trump a chance?
Because there's nothing in his record, his character, or his campaign, to repeat myself, to indicate that he can connect the dots between ventilating anger and public policy. He hasn't articulated an idea in this campaign, with the sole exception of saying he's going to order the United States military to commit war crimes.
He backed off on that.
Oh, he backed off on that, and then he re-backed off again. I mean, there is no body of thought here. And Catholics are the bearers of a tradition in which voting is an act of moral judgment. It's not a glandular exercise in which you express aggravation. Plenty of things to be aggravated about. Find another vehicle for your aggravation.
Right. There are principles at stake, and not just principles, but the reality that flows from that. So if you get someone in there with the wrong principles, we're going to have the wrong judges, the wrong appointments, the wrong emphasis throughout an administrative policy.
What if you compare him to the Democratic candidates?
I don't see much difference. The rhetoric is, some of the rhetoric is different, but when it comes to the issues that matter to Catholics, life, religious liberty, marriage, he's not with us. And it's time that I think people looked at that very seriously and acknowledged that.
What does the church teach us about voting?
It teaches us that voting is an act of moral judgment and moral responsibility. It teaches us to vote with our heads, not just our guts. It teaches us to be wiser than serpents and more innocent than doves in measuring politicians. It teaches us that democracy is a great adventure, but also a great responsibility. And
Indeed.
The democratic project is not advanced by a charlatan screaming and yelling about what he's going to do without any idea of how to do it.
We're going to have you both back. George Weigel, Mary Rice
Thank you.
Hasson, thanks for being with us.